Yo, good morning, guys. Welcome to another Crypto EMC episode. My name is Rudo. This is the Trade for a Living podcast. And as Sanders are saying, rightfully so, Rudo, you're late. I'm sorry, guys. I've got no excuse. I've been in front of the computer busy and just time got away from me. As you know, I do this for a living, so I chart so you don't have to. Okay, here we go, guys. So let's quickly have a look at Bitcoin bigger time frame, because the reason for today's stream is Bitcoin's complacency range. What do we do? How do we know when it's really truly bullish again or really bearish again? Because we're in this little gray area. That's what complacency is. It's a little gray area. We're kind of not there. We're kind of not pumping, but we're not dumping either. So, and then there's always one or two alts that's just shooting to the moon. So it's like, come on, you can't be bearish. What's wrong with you? So we want to be looking at that today, and then I want to do a recap on the trades I shared with everybody in the Discord. These trades, guys, are in the spot trade group, completely free for anybody to join, no strings, only T's and C's, and the T's and C's is you have to have an account with one of my partner links. Today's video is brought to you by Bybit. As a friendly reminder, head over to the video description, get your Bybit account using my link, or open a new one and just transfer the KYC. It takes about 5 minutes, and that will give you access to these channels and those setups. Okay. Now, there we have it. Now, let's quickly head over. Before I do this, guys, I'm at the comments real quick. I'll chart some points that you guys may be heavily unreported with. So, send me some requests. And then if there's any questions regarding anything, today is your stream. Send me some questions as well. Okay, let's get into this Bitcoin chart then. Now, the rule is as follows with complacency. For me is I don't try and act too harsh, but I want to be sitting on my hands slightly when it comes to buying dips now, because we've lost momentum. The way that we know that we've lost momentum is very simple. I can show you on Bitcoin on the weekly. I can show Bitcoin on a 5-minute. It always looks the same. Once you start creating strong bearish divergence, and you know what strong bearish divergence is. If you don't, there's many educational videos in the Discord where you can actually go read up on them. I can actually flip over to the Discord real quick. It's in the community section. No, it's under the education section, and it's learn to trade. And there you can learn anything and everything about the RSI and setting our divergences and everything that you would want to, just brush up on. So there's a hell of a lot of these videos there, guys. Go check them out. Okay. Now, back to this. We've got strong bearish divergence. You know how to identify that. You know how to get there. The rule is we remain bullish when you have strong bearish divergence, because it's a bullish signal. It's just telling you that there's a real powerhouse on one side and the market is running. It's only once that powerhouse is no longer supporting the buying, that's when you worry, and that's when support gets lost. So the way that we look at this, pivot A and pivot B, those are the two that creates the divergence. If we fall below the support that pivot A signifies on the chart, that normally sells. It's bad. Okay. And what happened was we created multiple, even on smaller, the daily time frames, we created multiple bearish divergences. But then we kind of fell below the level, the new pivot, we fell below it. And it created this complacency environment where for how many weeks? 84 days. Bitcoin was neither bullish nor bearish. It was just here or there. Just didn't get there until we finally had a massive retrace. We started falling below and we lost all these pivots. And now the big trick with the 2021 all-time high is we went even higher again from that. So we had this out of the blue pump rally that just came out of nowhere, tricked even more people thinking that, no, you just hold through the dumps, you'll be okay. And then the same thing happens. On the weekly, we had strong bearish divergence. We fell below the pivot, and that was all she wrote. The same is true for the bullish side. I'll be quicker on that one. You have your pivot A, pivot B. Once you reclaim that area, you're no longer bearish and you start moving to the upside. So the complacency that we're dealing with right now is based on just that. We've got the divergence. It's not necessarily a bad thing. But we've fallen below this. Now, we've had prior moments where we traded below it, but we've fallen below it. Now, what's the difference? Well, we haven't opened and closed an entire week below that level. We went down, and we opened, and we closed above it. So it was a shakeout event. This time around, we had 1 week, and if we stay where we are now, 2 weeks close below the pivot. That's bad. Also, what we have is a lower low. Now, depending on how, what exchange pairing you're using, if you're using Bybit or whether you're using Bitfinex, they will look a little bit different. Now, we all tend to refer to Bitfinex when it comes to these kind of things because, yeah, there you have it. It just looks a little slightly. And with Bitfinex, well, it's not a lower low either, but its nearest makes no difference. So we're at that situation where there's definitely been a low, there's been a sweep, and that liquidation wick that we had there was not bought back with power and vigor. Like everybody got liquidated, screw this, I'm just buying back. This thing will go up. I got liquidated. Now they're thinking, I've got liquidated. Maybe there's something wrong. People are second guessing this. And the proof to this is when you look at previous liquidation wicks. Liquidation happened there. People bought it back, stayed above it, then comes and tests. There we had a liquidation event. People didn't buy it back. The next week closed bearish in the wick. So what happened? We kept on trading down until we found a floor. And now what we're doing at this stage is exactly just that. So I am complacent. I am reluctant to say bullish. And I am reluctant to say buy the bloody dip because it's clearly not the environment for that. And I took a little bit of, I won't say flack from other guys saying, how can you not be bullish in this environment? We just had the biggest liquidation event happening. The bus is empty. Yeah, but is the bus maybe empty enough for the bears to take control? Just like the bus was empty at 15,000. That's the reality that we need to kind of think about. It's just nature of it. Okay. So now you have that. You have a little bit of an idea, of a little bit of background. Let's look at targets. Let's look at what's going to happen. Now, my bullish invalidation target. I don't know why TradingView doesn't want to remove that little. I've reloaded this thing many times. Let's try again once more. It's about 110 people joining in live. Guys, do me a solid. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, share the video with a friend. Let's get people to look at this from a responsible point of view, not a hyped up point of view, so that they can make good decisions by themselves. I cannot give you financial advice. I cannot tell you what to do. All I can show you is what the charts are pointing at and leave it on you to make the decisions accordingly. Okay. Whether you agree or not agree with me, that's the big thing. The nice thing is, as everybody says, this time it's different. They said it in a previous 4-year cycle. They said it again and again. But greed hasn't changed. So how can it be different? The human condition hasn't changed. So how can it be different? It will be the same. It will just look the same after the fact. That's always the way it's going to be. It will look the same after the fact. And somebody that wants to see bullish signals in the chart is just going to see bullish signals. And somebody that wants to see bearish is just going to see bearish. That's why my decision on whether bullish or bearish is depending on whether we're above or below a certain support level. So it's not on me to have a bias. It's on the chart to show me what is the bias. That's the difference. Okay. So this time around, what we do have is just like the other times, around the 38% of the time it takes between two halvings to occur, you top, and around 61% of the time between two halvings, you bottom. We did it there, we did it there, we did it there, we did it there. So what's the odds that it's not going to happen again? And funny enough, now we're sitting in that same situation where you can see this monthly candle, which closes in a week's time. If we close below 107, guys, serious number. If we close below 107, this would be the first bearish engulfing structure that Bitcoin has had in forever. which means we could see a whole term, 3 months of more bearish candles, which can bring us back down to 89 even. Where's the alts going to be? How's some of your, your moonshots going to look? We don't know that. So that's a scary thing. Okay. So it's not there yet. We're in that complacency band, guys. It's not there. I can't say do this. I can't say don't do this. All I can say is that's the reality of something you need to look out for. Okay. Over to the comments. Let's quickly see where you guys are at. Okay. I'm going to start at the top. Let's see. Great stuff. Can you hear? Sorry, yes. I tend to hit my audio and then get talking and forget to bring the volume down. And normally there's a Peter in the background reminding me of stupid little things like this, but I tend to forget that. So I apologize, guys. Now, bear with me. Bear with me. I do this live. Huh? Let's see. 70% of the bull mark over. Best thing to hope is for a lower high into a 4-hour fair value gap and dump. Marios, that's probably a good way to think about that if you're in something that's underwater. And that's what I want to show you next. Okay. And then there's a question about Filecoin. So maybe we can look at Filecoin later on during the stream. And then there's some more info on your note. So I'll look at that together. Now, before we do that, guys, the spot trade group in the Discord, I've made a promise to everybody. I'll be a little bit more active and a little bit more vigilant, giving trades and setups as I've done in the past. Reason being, there's a lot of guys that see who didn't mute his phone. There's a lot of guys that's been taking a hammering here and there, waiting on a coin perhaps that they bought on a good fundamental reason that just not performed well. And so the spot trade group has been running for about realistically heavily now for the last 2 weeks. So the calls that we made within the group, there's all the calls. And the way that I do is I tag them after they're done. So you can go to the Discord and you can filter them by the tags, whether you want to look at the winners, whether you want to be looking just at the losers or those that are all been closed and vice versa. And then there's some YouTube charts as well. So if there's a powerful video or stream today and stuff that I think that needs to be noted and charted and left on that will also be put in that channel in the YouTube charts tag. So you can just click on it and you can actually click on it and then go watch the video and the notes and everything that runs past that. Okay, so it gives you a nice little synopsis. So go and have a look at that. Now, the group stats for this week. This is now for the last 2 weeks. So the spot trade portfolio on the 10K plan that I'm running in the Discord is basically $2,000. And on that $2,000, you would have made $1,129 just by following the trades, even taking the losses as I've laid them out there. Now, I use TraderSync. It's a nice little nifty tool where we can have a look at that. There's all the spot trade groups. Okay, so we had a couple of good runs. We had BAS. We had, this is EVA. We had Opera AI, that really did well for us. Some insane, silly gains there to be had. So there is that complacency pump that I'm talking about. That's just clearly this can't be bearish, Rudo, if everything is pumping so nicely. I mean, there's Ava. A day later, it's sitting there. There's BAS. We had BAS. A day later, it was running out of the buy zone even. I mean, I sold there. I should have held. This thing went like ballistic, okay, on the spot side. Coin Opera. This thing just, it was insane how this thing just started. Sorry, there we go. I need to do this. This is now why Peter needs to be here. Let's see if I can bring this over. There we go. And do it over there. You can see the charts there. So there we call the buy zone, and it just ran. And this one I sold early because it was being delisted on Blowfin. Okay, so those are the trades. So there you have it. Now over to you. Let's have a look at your stuff. So guys, all you need to do is, let's just show you guys. Make sure you know how to do it. You can head to your navigation channel. Okay, you can go get your Discord role. And all you need to have done is support the channel, support the content. It's simple as that. No scams, no tricks. There you have it. Claim your Viber role. Click on it. It opens a one-on-one chat channel with your name on it. You click on the name. You send me your user ID. I verify that. And then once it's done, you'll have your role and you'll be able to participate in the group. For now, it will just be a read-only group if you don't have a link. Okay. Now, there's thoughts. Okay, here's the meaty stuff of the stream now coming through. Let me take a sip of water, and then we will go into that. So I want to talk to Marios or M4 Rio 619. I think I'm just going to say Marios. Okay. Let me just disconnect out of the private trade room as well. I see Yuri is also still waiting there. We'll get back into that private group trading pretty soon after the stream. Let's stop saying the word I've been watching those videos with the guys say, stop saying and I know, and every time I say it on the stream live, I'm like cringing inside myself. So every time I do that, everybody gives me a 555 in the chat. Let's play a little game. Let's see how many times I'm going to break my or repeat my own bad habit. Okay. Let's get into this. So the first question then that I think is a really good one. 70% of the bull market is open. The best thing is to hope for a lower low into a 4-hour fair value gap. Now, a fair value gap, guys, is nothing other than a hidden bearish divergence that presents itself. So you have a situation where the market sold off aggressively, and after that, the price is trying to test that lost support zone. So it wants to turn it into resistance. And what needs to happen is your eyes need to look at the RSI, because that will typically shoot past the range where the sell-off occurred or the previous pivot. So you're looking for a higher high on the RSI that looks bullish, but price not being able to meet that hidden bearish divergence. It's one of the strongest things. It is the strongest divergence out there. Now, but here's the catch. Before you do that, make sure that you do have a confirmed bearish trend. Because if you're trying to look for hidden bearish divergences when something is still bullish, you're going to find it every time, because after a low, there will be that divergence, but it won't necessarily break down. Okay, so it's that same false positive that you want to try and prevent yourself from acting on. So if you're looking for 4-hour fair value gap, make sure that it's something that has established a bearish trend. And I'm going to explain that right now. The coin that I will use for just that maybe is AIA. It's one of the coins that we've been looking at, and I trade live in the afternoons on Twitter in Spaces as well. And it's one of those Spaces events that you guys can go and have a look at there as well. So head over there. It's one of the coins that we mentioned there. AIA. So I'm going to scroll down to AIA and quickly get it from my list. I'll go to the 4-hour. Maybe what we'll do for this one, instead of a 4-hour, just use a 1-hour. So we just have a little bit more data, and then we'll take it from there. And I'll explain exactly the fair value gap, and the bearish divergence that you need to think of. Maybe this one doesn't even have enough data for that just yet. Oh, there's enough there. We can use that. So typically, let's get into a 30-minute. It will probably work a little bit better. I'm looking for a textbook clear version of this, so you can just easily find what I mean by that. But it's not going to give us a textbook version. So the 4-hour fair value gap, the problem that you have is once you have support that lives in the market like that, and price breaks down, what you will have is the same support on the RSI, price breaks down. Now your eyes need to be focused on this. Where's the highest point? And where's the highest point that price closed at? There. So it will be that point, which means hidden bearish divergence cannot have price and the RSI fall below that range. Now, this is the problem with the sell-off. Yet again, we don't have it now. So maybe AIA. And this is live. Sorry, guys, it's live. It's not a really good coin to show that example. So let's use another coin. Let's maybe use Just going to scroll up and look for, let's use KMNO Finance. It's also one of the coins that we were looking at in the past. We're going to go to the 4-hour time frame, and let's see, hopefully KMNO gives us a quick example of where I can find just that. There we go. Bearish trend. That's it. So now you have your bearish trend. Switch to the line tool, bring the RSI up. Price has been bullish. It broke trend. Now price is bearish. So now you can see simple what I mean by hidden bearish divergence. Make sure you have a bearish trend. And now what you're looking at is simple. You want to do the exact same thing with the RSI. It's almost the simplest way to look at it. You know, same thing in the RSI. The RSI broke trend, started breaking down. Okay, so now what do you want to look for? You've got a high, got a low, got a lower low, and now you want to try and sell on the next lower high because the trend has been established. What needs to happen is, I'll mark out the tops for you. What you'll find is the RSI does the opposite. Goes and makes a higher high, but price cannot hold on to that. And then if we zoom into that zone, bring the candles back, take away the RSI. This is what typically gets referred to as the fair value gap. Now, in this instance, it didn't quite gap. Typically, it will look something like that. It didn't quite gap that. But there you have it. Now, I have a different way of getting there. I just say, use the hidden bearish divergence RSI. Okay? Hidden divergence prediction, which tells you, after you have that, if you've got hidden bearish divergence, use whatever you can find within that yellow zone to get out. And all of this is, again, guys, all the education that you might need to learn on how this works is in the Discord. Completely free. You can just go and look at it. Okay. There you have it. Now, that is what you're trying to look out for. Now, the problem is sometimes alts start breaking down. Now, this is now where I'm going to go to AIA. The risk you have. You do this only on spot, okay? Let me just scroll back down to AIA. Where is it hiding now? There we go. Boom. What if the breakdown occurs and you never get there? Waiting for an exit on a leveraged position could wreck you. The reason for this is, guys, the market can stay wrong for longer than you can afford it to be, okay? And typically that's what happens. So if you're underwater and it's on spot, you can have a little bit more breathing room. You can have a little bit more time to just say, well, let's see what it does. And there was an exit. Although it's not a textbook picture perfect version of it, did we make a higher high? Oh, it's so near, so close to call. But we went into that same supply. Maybe the market got overexhausted. That is what this pump should have potentially have been. The exit and then the move back down. Okay, that's AIA. That's your fair value gap. Now, analysis for AIA. Looking at it now. What we have is on the 4-hour, we're actually not trending bearish. We're actually bullish. And you can easily see that by just drawing a line to the upside. Now, the easiest trick for you, if you're new to this, don't quite know what to do, how to find it, is go onto TradingView and just load the trend scope indicator. Trend scope indicator. I created this thing. It's completely free again, no strings attached. And there's a video in the Discord that shows you under how to use tools, how to use that indicator. There's the video. I'm not seeing any high fives in the chat. Have I broken the curse? Because I know you guys are looking up at me, making sure. Let's see. There. Just did it. So the easiest way is then to look at this thing from a short-term point of view. Thank you, Stanku. Throw that 555. There it is. Look at this from the trend scoping indicator point of view. Short-term, is AIA bullish? Well, I was saying yes, but according to this, no, it's not bullish. The rule with this is very simple. You want, there's another 5. Thank you, Renee. I just said it again. Now that I've reminded myself of it. So you want to have red at the bottom, you want green in the middle, you want white at the top. When you have them in those color sequences, then it is bullish, or in the other direction. If it is flopping around like this, the trend is inconclusive. So it's either consolidating, building a base. It's not ready to move. And this is now on the 4-hour time frame. Maybe if you move over to the 1 hour, it will start establishing itself. But then on the 1 hour, it's saying that we've now just switched everything. And short-term wise, we're bearish. So expect more downside momentum. And it's purely just momentum. All that the moving average is doing is, it's not a buy-sell signal. I used to give moving averages and people using them a lot of flack in the beginning. And I think I've matured over the years to understand that there is a value and a need and a service that it does provide. It's just, if you're trying to make that your end all be all for trading, that's when it burns you. So there's value to this. It's just telling you from a momentum point of view. It's not quite there yet. Is this a true bearish momentum? No, because you would want to see that red line pointing downwards. So this is still potentially just chop short term. So it's not ready to do anything just yet. It's just hitting this. And this is now the 1 hour time frame. The 15-minute, things could start turning to the upside, but you can see that even still is confusing. So AIA, would I be trading this thing on leverage now? No. Would I be trying to buy anything on this? No. Okay, it's just not working. Let's go to one that did really well as an example, and I'll just talk you through to that. So we had BAS, this week. Immediately, you see the colors line up in the right direction. Rather look at that one. Now, say my AIA bag's underwater. Well, move it into BAS and see what happens there. Because statistically, this one will at least then raise the level for you. It's performing far better than the other one. And this is just a simple way of looking at it from a short-term point of view. Now, long-term, you can see BAS has already got even stronger support, where if I go back to AIA, I'm just going to go 4-hour time frame. Let's just get back there. Long-term now, you can see it's only now had enough data to start looking at the long-term outlook just yet. And that's what I saw from my trend analysis, that it's still trending to the upside. So the long-term version is it's still there, but it's not quite ready short-term. So you have conflicting signal. You want the short-term to point that, and then you want the long-term to point that as well. And I've got shortcuts at the top here, S and L, for short, long-term. You're gonna, if you're not have the shortcuts yet, all you need to do is just switch on it short-term, and it's going to show you the short-term look. And then you flip back to that and you switch on it long-term, and it's going to show you the long-term outlook. Okay? It's as simple as that. So AIA, is this doomed to fail? I don't think so. Not yet. We don't have enough data to say that. Short-term, it's choppy. Long-term, it's probably as well. It's building something. So as long as we can probably stay above $1.20, this would look really good. Okay. There we go again. 555. I must maybe give a Bitcoin away. I'll be broke by the end of the stream each time I say that. Let's see what else we have in the comments. So we've got your AIA sorted. Now, Filecoin. Now, Filecoin is named Sonic right now. And I know Andre Cronje launched or had, what was the hot news? I mean, I looked at it the other day about the new Oracle, where they can guarantee your seed investment money back if you don't need that. So you can buy in on their new project, and the way the mechanism is, the treasury holds it, they don't spend it, they lock it. And then if you need it or you want it back, you think they're not doing their job, you can get it back 1-to-1. So quite revolutionary, and that brought a little bit of excitement to the whole Filecoin. I'm thinking, where's my mind? Filecoin's got absolutely nothing to do with Sonic. Sander's been thinking, what is this guy smoking? Sorry, man, I just had a brain fart. Okay, so forget about that. Filecoin's Filecoin. Okay. It's one of those days. It's Friday. Sonic, there the notes are coming through. Thanks. Yes. It's Friday. Just let it go. Let it go. Okay. So I was really bullish on Filecoin. Let's get to the point. I was really bullish on Filecoin because the chart just looked so poised for a breakout. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't. That has changed or anything, but we don't have that narrative being sexy right now. Now, let me just have a look at where did I file it under. There we go. So let's start this off on the daily time frame. Just using the trend scope indicator to just simply talk you through so you can see where we're at. And you've had your question around this is this thing still going to go to? Let's just scroll up to your Filecoin request. There we go. Let's see questions. Filecoin still going to 100. I still have my bag from $3 to $4. So the question now is, if we look at this thing macro view, let's just maybe do a clean screen. You've had the initial launch wick there. 50% of that. We were lucky enough to leverage trade this all the way to 250. Now, as the structure is broken down and this bull market has been a horrendous alt market, you've got critical areas where price revolved it around that was lost. $50. Now, if you look at this from a daily point of view, that would be the first area where I would imagine if we have a breakout, price is going to want to go to $50, not $100. The reason is for the same way, if you think about what AIA did just on a very small scale right now. You had that launch, you had that massive sell-off. Where's AIA again? This list is exceptionally long, guys. So I doom scroll myself, basically. So there we go, AIA. So you've got the same, just 1 hour time frame for AIA. The same scenario where this was probably Filecoin's initial pump, fell below that level, and it's dead, and it went to grab that liquidity. This being an insane overshoot. So you have that same fractal that hasn't changed. It looks different. And on the face value of this, you can argue, but this is completely different, but it isn't. It's the same emotional stuff that's playing out on this thing on the larger time frame. But now, if you start going into the weekly time frame, you're trying to set a narrative for yourself regarding this. The question that I'll ask you is, if we're still bearish right now, why would you want to hold this indefinitely when there's clearly better ones? You can always buy it back. And how you would go about buying it back when it does prove to want to go out is simple. You're going to look at this thing from this structure as it is right now, and you're going to switch to your line tool and just going to say to yourself, okay, where was support? Support was there. Where did we have divergence that created a good support? There. Really bullish on Filecoin there. What did we do? We made a high, we made a higher high, great. That higher high had its points where support needed to live. You can see that it went back, tested that. There's that fair value gap scenario. There's the high, there's the higher high in price, lower high on the RSI. Well, I'm not there. Sorry, scratch that. I'm not firing on all cylinders today. Seems like that, guys. I'm lucky with my RSIs. And from that point onwards, we weren't supposed to go below that level. Now that we're below that level, people are questioning Filecoin's validity. The reason I'm saying that is because we're trading below it now. It's not a shakeout. It's not that. People are worried. So what was good fundamentals? Is it still good fundamentals? I'm not read up on Filecoin to be able to comment on that, honestly. No financial advice. But from a technical point of view, all I'm seeing is that the picture is people are questioning Filecoin. That's it. That's what they're doing. They're just questioning the bloody thing. And until we have strong bullish divergence like we had there, and we had price regain that level, Filecoin is doomed to keep on just grinding down, looking for accumulation. Do I think then it's going to go to 100? Yo, it's a tricky thing. I don't see the 100. I see 50, in all fairness. Get above 50. Now we can talk maybe 100. Then we can bring back the candles. We can maybe say, okay, right, what if this ends up turning into, a nice area? But that what if is on the basis that it didn't keep on losing support levels. So that's the reason my Discord is also functioning the way that it does, in a way, for the private guys. If you can always come and ask, say, listen, man, is this thing still holding the right support? Is this thing still doing on the trajectory that we're looking for? And clearly, at these lows, yes, and these highs, yes, the potential was there, but I mean, we've lost that. It's over. The potential isn't there at the moment. So for now, for me, Filecoin's a dead coin. Technically wise, they're probably still working. They're figuring stuff out, but people aren't buying it in the same way that they're supposed to. So that's my honest analysis on Filecoin. Okay. So your bag is down heavily. I understand that. So what do you do now? Well, why stay on a sinking ship when a rocket passes you by? The scared thing is when you look at this candle now, say, well, I might sell right now and not have something to buy back. And then tomorrow I'll wake up and it's there. That's the crash. That's the catch that everybody has to deal with. It's that taking action means that there's a definite consequence. And sometimes when you're in this, you're already feeling the consequence of the fact that there's less money in the account now. But that's the action that you're going to have to be heartfelt to try and work through. Say to yourself, that's it. Now, you've got many tools and tricks. What I say, when you have a liquidation event and price sits below that range, what we're going to do, we're going to fill the wick and some. So we'll probably, if things stay as it is, chop around to these ranges, build a base. Maybe we don't make a lower low. Maybe we stay within this area. But statistically, the odds that we're going to fill that wick and go lower still is really good. Okay. So there you have it, Sander. Hope it does help and gives you a little bit of an idea where we are. Mario says, just sell it in a loss, move half in ETH and half in cash. Have a plan clearly laid out with levels and so forth, so you can understand what happens. Ethereum, for me, if all has also lost its luster a bit. I mean, I wasn't really bullish on ETH, I'm honest with you guys, but being bullish on something and buying was two different things. So if you look at Ethereum from the daily point of view, what's the rule here? We need to stay above this range. Stay above the range, but we're trading in the liquidation wick, just like Bitcoin does. So the odds that, that we stay above that range, I mean, 2 weeks ago I was hopeful. What changed? Because this is sometimes what happens. People quote you from their watch 2 weeks ago and then they watch again. So, well, you said you were bullish now you're bearish again. But what changed? We didn't close above that level. Ethereum is due for more. Why climb into one, leave one sinking ship for another one? Because that's what hurts a lot of people is you sell the thing that bled to nearly zero. Then you move to the bigger one that's maybe safer and that thing bleeds again. It just compounds the pain. I'd rather be unstable, wait for the next opportunity, than try and buy something like that. And that's why the 10K plan is in the Discord as well, guys. So go read up on the 10K plan. Very simple. There you go. Where's it hiding? I need to just get the buttons right. I'll fix it. But it's in there. It gives you a complete breakdown of how the portfolio looks, how your portfolio needs to be restructured, and the mission. Why and how I'm looking at this. And this button is supposed to be right here at the front. I don't know why it's there. I'll just make sure that it's there. But yes, and your note, like I just said to you, it's fair. It's fair to say that Ethereum is in a Wyckoff accumulation, sign of strength, long accumulation. Looks good, but just because it's an accumulation doesn't guarantee the outcome of an accumulation. We've seen this many times where something goes into an accumulation, and then if the accumulation fails, now there's so much drawn on this. If the accumulation fails, so now you've got a low, you've got your upthrust, you're staying in there, you're building support. And then what does it do? It failed completely, swept everything off the table. Now what are you doing? Now looking at this, you're saying, well, that's the accumulation. But I promise you when we were there, people were saying that's the accumulation. So accumulation and the Wyckoff way of looking at it is saying that you always need to, always measuring out all the phases, phase A, phase B, C, D, and E. And you act in phase C, D, and E. That's when you act. And you act because phase C is the most riskier point. Then you act on phase D because you're establishing a trend within the range. And then you act on phase E because you're saying you're trending out of the range. And on that basis, if we then look at where we are right now, and maybe I just need to clean this, all the brush strokes real quick, and then I can finish off with this note. If we look at all this accumulation, we say, right, this is range top, range low. Where's your phase C, phase D, phase E? Trend within range, and now you're looking for trend out of range. But until that, that buy for somebody that has no ETH is just as risky as that buy. The only difference is I can still say it can fall back into the range and it's still a bullish coin for me. But for the guy that doesn't have any ETH, buying there right now means that he needs to stomach all that drawdown, another 50%. And that risk is not a really good risk to reward ratio for him. And that's the thing with advice as always. I cannot give advice because advice has to factor in all the factors. You don't have that. You only have the charts and the risk and where it is for you at this stage in your trading journey. So yes, if you have ETH from 1,300, buy now. Simple, Mario, you're 100% correct. Just bang it in and wait. Okay, have the rest on cash flow for buy the dip scenario. But for the guy that's underwater, that just doesn't play out. It's actually more riskier. Doesn't work because the market will probably hunt them. That's it. So TA is a brilliant thing for you to just narrow down the risk so that when you take your next action, make that be a good action. It still could fail, but let that be a good action so that when you take it, you have a tighter invalidation. You don't have to lose 50 or 60% of your account to find out whether you're wrong, because this is 50%, all the way to 2.5, 40% of your account to find out whether you're wrong. That's just too expensive for me. You'll probably get a better deal at a different rate. Okay, that's it. That is 555 again. I like my arms today. Let's see what else. Bitcoin Cash. I was thinking about higher 10. Let's see what else we have. 1,300,000 average buy. But that's yours. I mean, that's simple. Not everybody has that same buy. I mean, I can now say ETH is a screaming buy because I bought my first ETH at $100. Just doesn't make sense, man. You can't work it that way. So standard for whoever is, being underwater versus somebody else's, you have to always look at the information and relate that to your own wallet. That's why I spend so much time teaching as opposed to just giving out fish, because then you can look at this pragmatically. There you have it, guys. Thanks so much for the time. Have a great weekend. Go to the Discord. You can also upgrade your access if you want to by literally subscribing through WAP payments or NE6 payments if you just want to get in. The lifetime members group is currently, there's a few slots left. And if you want lifetime access, this is going at $2,000. I'll discount that to the original $1,000 price for the whole of next week. That's it. And then that will never be the deal again. So if you want lifetime access, simple as that. You don't have to worry about recurring fees. Everybody learns at their own pace. Everybody starts at their own thing. I'm going to head over to the Discord. There's a hell of a lot of people in there that I need to go and have a look at, see where they're at, what's happening, whose liquidity is being taken, and get the trades ready for the next one. I want to say thanks to each and every one of you guys for joining in live. I really like having you guys here. This is really nice having you being part of the community. What you need to do is join me on the spaces this afternoon if you want to, or within the live trade as in the discussion channel. I typically let you guys know when I do go into those channels. So you can come and join and say, hi, Renee is there sometimes. And some of these, some of the other viewers on the screen I know is there as well. There you have it. Have a great weekend, guys. You know where to find me. Cheers.